Hello, how are you? I just want to share some things, just teaching, checking, testing, preparing to share life's information with you. I've made some personal notes I want to kind of use as a guideline. Things in life. There's the one thing that I want to bring to the forefront is assets and liabilities. Assets are things that make money, things that things that make the resources you have increase or produce more of the same. Money that makes you money when applied to things that multiply. And let me say that again. Assets is money that makes you money. Things that make the resources you have increase and produce more of the same. Money that makes you money when applied to things that multiply. Those are assets. And then liability, let's define that a little bit. Liabilities are things that take away from what you desire to produce. Money that costs you more money and does not replenish in any way. A liability, things that take away from what you desire to produce. Money that costs you more money and does not replenish in any way. Assets and liabilities, just foundations of what it takes to have a successful financial future. And I'm endeavoring to do some teaching. I'm had a few years under my belt, and I want to share, in this particular phase of life, some of the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience. And you have to read in order to get your mind into a place that you can progress. And without reading and acquiring knowledge and wisdom, you will not progress. You'll stagnate or you'll find yourself stuck. You'll be able to get to a certain point, maybe, and that's all you'll be able to acquire in your life. But as you initiate and apply the things that I will be teaching and sharing, the only way you don't increase is you don't apply or you don't engage or you cease or you don't function or cease to function. But if you apply the principles, you acquire the knowledge, and you put yourself in a position to practice, you're going to gain skills and become proficient at doing these things. Wholesale and retail are some of the other foundational things that we need to be aware of. And I just want to make sure we're on the same level as we're talking and continuing to have these discussions or times of sharing. My desire is for you to increase, at least increase in your wisdom and your knowledge, to know how, if you so decide, or if you decide not, still have the wisdom to know how to, if you apply the wisdom, and makes the wisdom becomes knowledge and experience and expertise. Wholesale is when you obtain things for a low input or low value or low price for the purpose of supplying them to someone else at a higher price or an increased value. Wholesale. And then there's resale. Supply things or objects to someone at an increase of what you obtained them for, retail market, transactions, value, or price. Wholesale, retail, supply, and demand. And again, I'm reading from notes because I want to be structured with this, because I want to be able to transfer to you and for you to have an understanding, or to be able to absorb and comprehend and apply to your life if you so desire. And as you desire, it's impossible not to increase. Supply and demand. Make available to a market or person things that are needed to make life comfortable and pleasurable for what desires or needs that a market or a person may need. Supply and demand. And I'm going to go back over here, just kind of capsulizing just a little bit. Buy low and sell for a profit. Just some foundations. Money and material. What we all need and desire. How to acquire, obtain, possess, use, or increase our life. Money and materials. Money makes money. Again, I'm just going over some of the highlights and topics, so we're going to get more into detail on this as we continue. How money makes money. How equals when you use an asset. How, as you apply, invest it, or trade it for things or information to increase others' life, others' possessions, others' lives, and others' possessions. By the hundreds, by the thousands, by the millions, or the multiple millions. Just so, well, I don't have anything to do that with. I beg to differ. Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have a job? If you have any of these things, then you have some resources available to you. So to say you don't have anything is actually not true unless you're just totally non-functional at all. Now let's recap a little bit briefly. Let's go over what I initially said. Assets and liabilities. Again, assets are things that make money, things that make the resources you have increase or produce more of the same. Money that makes you more money when applied to things that multiply. Assets. Liabilities. Just recapping briefly. Liabilities, things that take away from what you desire to produce. Money that costs you more money and does not replenish in any way. Liabilities. Assets, liabilities. Wholesale, retail. Wholesale. When you obtain things for a low input or low value or low price for the purpose of supplying them to someone else at a higher price or an increased value. Wholesale. And retail. Supply things or objects to someone at an increase of what you obtain them for, the retail market, transactions, value, or price. Okay? Wholesale, retail. Supply and demand. Make available to a market or person or thing or person. Make available to a market or persons things that are needed to make life comfortable, pleasurable, for what desires and needs that a market or a person may need. And as we put these things into action, we are setting forth principles. Money plus material, what we all need, what we all desire, how to acquire, obtain possessions, use it to increase our life. Money makes money. How? When you use an asset. How? As you apply, invest, trade it for things or information to increase others' possessions or others' lives by the hundreds, and again by the thousands, and by the millions, and by the multi-millions. I have nothing. Again, I'll reiterate. Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have a job? Well, you have something. So what needs to happen is you need wisdom and you need the knowledge to know how to initiate or put into practice or change your lifestyle or your mindset to cause you to increase. So these are the things that we're going to be discussing as I continue to, and my hope is to build a relationship with you. I'm interested in those that want to increase and want to have to profit, to take an asset or to know the difference between an asset and a liability and how to apply those things to your personal life to cause you to increase. And so as we put these things into action, we're going to increase, and we're going to talk about different avenues of increase. So some of the things that